I'm going to start in three, two, one. Welcome, everyone, to the Interstice podcast. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you very much, Tina, for coming on.
Hi.
Cool. So,
Yeah,
um,
thank you for inviting me.
oh, yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for making the time. I know how busy everybody is. So, how
Yeah.
long ago? We actually collaborated once, but it must be years now, isn't it? Would it be like a couple years?
2 years maybe?
Yeah,
Over
yeah.
it was before COVID and maybe around 2 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, how time flies. That's just crazy.
Yeah. It
So
was I was
I was
maybe
sorry,
even yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. What I wanted to do though is get some of your story because we never really talked that much. We were so like into the collaboration in the neighborhood we were exploring, but how did you connect to Japan? Because I know that you're even 2 years ago when we were hanging out, your Japanese is at a really high level as well.
Yeah, I studied Japanese studies. That's the easy answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean you learn basically everything about Japan, but the main thing you learn is the language.
Mm-hmm.
Or I was mostly interested in learning. It was the fun part for me. I wasn't interested that much. I mean, I'm of course I'm interested in Japan, but I don't know why, but I loved learning Japanese.
Hmm.
Uh, I can't really explain it that much, but like learning kanji was for me. I was drawing a lot when I was like, yeah, a couple of years back. I was drawing really a lot, and so learning kanji was for me like drawing. I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah, I get that. I mean, I'm horrible at kanji. I have practiced some, but there's a great deal of satisfaction that comes with actually doing them correctly and mastering, with the small amount that I have. So I can only imagine your level. So how long have you been in Japan now? I've been here, for some time, but what about you? I think it's been a little while.
Now it's been since 2000 since 2015. I'm living here permanently, more or less, but because I studied Japanese studies, it was pretty easy for me to come as an exchange student like 3 times or
Hmm.
so. The first time in 2008. um and until today I'm really regretting. I just I feel I really want to say that I'm really regretting that I did not start to do YouTube back then. I could
Ah.
have started already in 2008, kind of to record my journey and everything I did back then, because that was the first time I came to Japan and everything was still so exciting.
Hmm.
And I started YouTube now maybe 10 years later or so, 2000, I don't know when, yeah, maybe 10 years later, and everything was already like normal for me. And I was like, okay, what's interesting?
Right, right. And I mean, at that time as well, talking about being like an early adopter in terms of the audience of
Mm.
people, it was not in any way saturated at that time, right? Like in 2008, you would have been a
Ah,
pioneer. You would have been like the first person
yeah.
showing up. But I mean, that's okay. I mean, I understand that desire to like have done more sooner. I think that's inescapable. We always feel that to some degree.
Yeah, I have done so much back then in this first year. So many interesting things. I have stayed at a host family's place and they invited me to do, like, for example, calligraphy and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Wearing a kimono for the first time, all this cultural, interesting, Japanese cultural. You know what I mean.
I do. I do. When you so that sounds kind of, I think the whole exchange story is really cool in itself. Like where was your exchange? Like you were going to a university, I guess, when you were doing that? What
Mhm.
so where were
Yeah.
you going, and was it like for a year, and was it total immersion, like you're doing all in Japanese or
Also, the first time I went for 1 year, and that was at Waseda University. And I went to some of the famous universities. I went to Waseda and to Keio.
hmm,
And the last time in 2015, I went to, I don't know if somebody knows this university, Senshu.
okay. Okay.
Totally, totally unknown. But it has two. campuses. How do you say that in English?
I know. I think
Um,
that's right. It would be campuses. That's what, like,
campuses.
at least in Canada, that's what we'd say.
We never know what the plural is in German.
Oh, I see campuses. Yeah, yeah. I think you got it. I think you got it. Okay.
So they have only two. And I was in Kanagawa, right?
Hmm.
Kanagawa Prefecture back then. But it's still Tokyo. It was close to Tokyo.
Okay. Is Waseda University in Kyoto?
Waseda is in Tokyo.
Oh, I'm
I've
cutting
always
that
been
out.
in. No, it's in Takada no Baba.
Okay.
Do you know Takada no Baba?
I don't. I don't.
It's between Shinjuku and Ikebukuro.
Hmm. Cool. Okay, so I'm learning something. For some reason, why did I think Waseda University was in Kyoto? Is the only famous university in Kyoto, is it just Kyoto University, or is there a different named one there that's quite famous? Do you know?
No, I know that Kyoto University is famous, but
Right.
that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you came over, was it for a year? Was it 1 year?
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
year.
Actually 10 months, but a year. Yeah. A year.
Was it with a host family?
No, I stayed at a dorm, but
Oh,
I had the opportunity to go to a host family for 2 weeks
okay.
in between, and it was a really interesting experience because like living at a Japanese family's place, and this family was they were so nice. I'm still have contact to them.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Yeah, I'm
cool.
still in. But just we can't really meet because of COVID. But
Mm.
yeah, we have met over the last years from time to time. They are really so nice. I don't know. The father has lived. They have lived in America for a while,
Okay.
also, so they know a little bit about America at least. Maybe not about Europe, but yeah, they were always asking me questions about Germany.
Mm-hmm. So what is? I'm curious. Like, it's fun to think about. A lot of people who, what I mean, I have to say, as much as the podcast is supposed to be anything, of course, people often find this because of my original channel, and a number of them are
Yeah.
people who want to come over to study or work. I'm curious, like, what was the experience of when you first came to study and you're in the dorm and it's your first time in Japan? Like, what do you recall what that impression was left on you? Like, what was the excitement like? What was living in the dorm like? That kind of thing.
Oh, I can tell you a lot about this. What was it like? But to be honest, the first time I came here, I was not so much, I don't know, I did not have a culture shock back then.
Okay.
I came to Tokyo and I was like, wow, that's pretty normal here.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't as exciting as like everyone was talking about Japan like as this exciting different country.
Hmm.
Um, but it wasn't as exciting as I imagined it to be. That I remember. And living in a dorm was I was I had a roommate, which was difficult because even Japanese dorms are small and the rooms are small, and I was used to the rent that I had to pay in Germany was low. So when
Mm-hmm.
I came to Japan and they told me you can choose between this room and this room, and if you take a roommate, it's getting even cheaper, and that was already so expensive for me back then. So I
Okay.
took the cheapest room they had, and it was super small. And I had a roommate, and we had basically one bed, and the floor.
So no divider between you.
No,
Oh wow. Okay. So
yeah.
that's yeah.
And she was I don't know, she was really really nice. Kind of became friends to a certain, but we had our problems also. She was always staying up really late, and she was playing a computer game, and she had a
Mm.
mouse for her computer, and she was always doing this. This was, I will never forget this.
Okay.
At night, every day, for
Mm.
over an hour.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's I had I was like when I went to university, I was in a dorm too, but I was really, really lucky because the first dorm that I stayed in, it was actually when I should preface this by my high school experience was a boarding school, and
Mm,
I didn't board there. I was a day student, but I was
mm,
still assigned to a room. And
mm,
it was like still the guy's room who lived there, but I was seen as like a sort of kind of a roommate to them. And then when I went to university, I was such good friends with them. I ended up being roommates with them at university, one of them.
mm,
And then our room had a divider. So it made like
mm.
all the difference in the world that like just this thin wall
Yeah,
that went between it, where
yeah.
many of the dorms at the school were like you described, where it's just a bed and a bed. And
Mm.
to me, that's almost an impossible situation. Like there's going to be you're gonna annoy each other somehow, right? Whether it's like clicking a
Yeah,
mouse or one of you's up late or one of you isn't. That's just, and it's what is it? It's probably like 20 square meters or something like that. You know, it's not
yeah,
big.
yeah. It was super small. And yeah, I don't know. I couldn't do that again. I couldn't do that ever again.
Okay.
It was just like cheap. And then you were maybe like most of the day at university. That was okay. And when I came home, basically, to do my homework and stuff, she was somewhere else. I don't know actually where she went, but
Mm-hmm.
she came home a little bit later, so I had a little bit time for myself at least.
Okay.
That was okay. Yeah, and on the weekend you're going out anyway
Mm-hmm.
when you're in Tokyo. So,
True. True.
mm, yeah, but it was an experience.
How about like what? So I was asking you the courses.
Mm.
Was it 100% immersion, or were you doing it some of I don't know
Uh,
in English and German? Like what was the courses like?
yeah, so when you are in one of the lower classes, they have like 8 levels or so.
Uh,
So one is the lowest, and eight is the super, I don't know, skilled
mm-hmm.
level. When you are in one of the lower classes, it's probably still okay to speak a little bit English. But
Okay.
I got into one of the lower classes, and I was trying, I remember a day, I was trying to get, you could, sorry if I have to start over again
Oh, it's
every
okay.
time.
I circle back all the time. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah. So, you were basically in level 2, 3, 4, 5, but
Mm-hmm.
you could choose other um, lessons from different levels. For
Mm-hmm.
example, like, I don't know, there were certain lessons that had a topic, I don't know. We had, for example, a Japanese drama class where we were watching Japanese drama,
Mm-hmm.
which was really cool.
That's cool. Yes.
So there were, you could like pick your, how do you say, do your lessons
Mm-hmm.
together um, for your schedule, and they could be from different levels. And I was trying to get into some of the higher levels, not the really high levels, but like at least one level higher,
Sure.
to make the best out of this year. And I had to talk to some of the teachers for that, so that they would let me in one of the higher levels. And I remember a day I was in level maybe 2 or 3, one of the lower ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I talked to one teacher, and it was one of the first week maybe I was there. So I was trying to communicate to her in English, and she was like, "No, you have to talk to me in Japanese, or else this won't happen." Basically, she was really strict, and she was like, "Please talk in Japanese." So this was one of the first things that I remember, and I was basically able to say the easiest things really slowly. Not even that it was so hard to make one straight sentence
Mm.
back then. But they kind of forced me, and I forced myself because I was trying to get into the higher levels,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit higher at least. So yeah, so that I can get something out of this one year
Right.
basically. And it worked. It kind of worked. I made the Japanese, the language, the N2 at the end of this year.
Oh wow, that and back then.
Yeah,
Okay, so wow.
2009.
That's amazing. So long ago
Was,
then. Okay. Okay. The content of the lesson though was presented to you in Japanese?
yeah,
It
everything
was.
then was in Japanese, yeah.
Okay, I see. Well, clearly that did work then, because if you can clear the N2, there's no, that'll root out weak hands, you know? Like that's
Yeah.
just, there's no faking the N2. Okay.
Mm.
Was that your
But
first attempt or?
yeah, yeah, I think the first one. And
Okay.
one was so much harder.
Mm-hmm.
And two was kind of because I had this year in Japan before that, and I was basically only studying Japanese for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of made it possible. And also at Waseda University, you have classes every day. We even had classes on Saturday.
Ugh, gross. I say
Yeah.
that now I'm in a private school. I teach on Saturday, but don't tell anyone.
And I know also that a lot of universities weren't like that. Like friends of mine went to different universities and they had like maybe 3 classes per week. So nothing comes out of that, basically. Not
Yeah.
much.
When it's that much, no, but 6 days a week. Ugh. Um, so this is another thing that we could touch on. I think this is really cool for people too because you, unlike so many, your position now. I don't know exactly what you do, but you're not a teacher. That's like
No,
right. Do you mind sharing what is it that you do? Do you know what do you do?
very interesting. I haven't learned that. Because of a friend, I got into a Japanese office.
Okay,
Um, patent attorney.
a patent
Patent?
attorney. That's
Patent,
interesting.
yeah. A
So
patent attorney.
basically, when people want to patent some technology and they need some sort of like bureaucratic handling of this, like you said, attorney, that has to do with the like the laws surrounding it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
It
so
would be even difficult in German.
yeah, like so you say was that a friend from school that you found a reference through to that work, or how did that come about for you?
It was also totally random. I found her, or we met on Instagram,
Oh,
and I told her that I was searching for a job.
all right.
And I told that basically everyone, even people who didn't want to hear it, I told that everyone back then because I was desperate. I really wanted to find a job,
Yes.
and it wasn't going that well. So and she was, I don't know, she's one of the nicest people I ever met, and she was like, "Hey, my office is currently searching for someone.
Hmm.
Don't you want to apply?" So
Did
yeah, I applied
did you meet her while you were in Germany and then you like
in,
connected?
in Japan.
You were in Japan. Okay.
Yeah.
Were you still studying? Like when did that happen?
Oh, I can't remember. No, I was searching for a job. That was 2015. I came back as a student
Okay.
for 1.5 years. So 2017 ish.
Mm-hmm.
I stopped. I was trying to write a doctor thesis.
Oh.
So I was a student for a long time.
Okay. Okay. So you have a master's or
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
wow. Congrats. See, look at I'm learning so many things about Tina. I had no idea you had the master's. That's awesome. Congrats.
That's also the reason why many people are surprised about my level of my Japanese level, but it's not a big deal if you do that for over 10 years. And kind of like it's not that I can speak 7 or 6 languages or whatever. But okay. Um I came back as a student and then I wanted to write this doctor thesis and then I decided to give up on that and try to find a job.
Mm-hmm.
So but in between I was at a research institute.
Hmm.
But in that time I was kind of making my here job search shukatsu
Okay.
in that time already. So because I knew I wanted to stay in Japan, that's the next thing. If people ask me why I wanted to stay in Japan, I don't know. I just was like I don't want to go home.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and I met her in that time on Instagram first.
Okay. Just like liking it, you just saw some pictures you liked. You were like, "Oh, cool picture." Okay. And then
Yeah.
it's it's really amazing. Now this is like totally tangential going off of this, but how like just what a tool social media is so dependent on your interaction with it, you know. And
Yeah.
like if you can if you can use it for a job search, sure. If you can use it as a work portfolio, that's another way. If you can use it to, I don't know, but it's just incredible how it's like it really is only defined by your usage of it, like, and how creative you can be with that. Like, you could use it to find collaborations, you could use it to find work, you could use it just because you enjoy the art and content that you find there. But more and more, I appreciate how they're not they're almost indescribable, because it's like, in terms of usage, because it just, you can make something up. There can be somebody who's like, I'm sure, and I know this, there's got to be somebody else, millions of people who are using it for business purposes in ways that I couldn't even imagine, but just
Mm.
by virtue of being connected with other people, it's really amazing. Like, I've, for example, I've never heard of someone who got a job through it like you just described, you know, like that. That's awesome. I mean, why not? That's so cool.
Yeah, because I have she's an amazing friend. I've never met. I told that like a lot of people, but most people weren't really that like. They were just like telling me some stuff, but she was really like right away like, "Don't you want to apply at my company?" So I was really surprised, but still very thankful for that
And so you
also.
guys just built a friendship off of knowing each other's accounts? Like, I'm curious, how did that happen? How did you guys run into liking each other, that you even entered a conversation, I'm assuming in your direct messages, like where you were like, how, like, I guess it, see, this shows how I'm almost closed-minded. You probably just randomly follow people. Is that how it happened? You were just like, you seem cool, and that was it? Or
Yeah, I guess maybe. I was really before I started YouTube, I was addicted to Instagram for a while.
okay.
Back then, it was still kind of fun
Mm.
to use Instagram. I was extremely addicted to Instagram for
Mm.
maybe a year or so. So I have probably started to follow random people if I found accounts that I liked.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
then, yeah, you find more and more people that kind of are living in Japan also. And I thought I could maybe try to find, I think I probably was also trying to find just some new friends, meet some new people, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah.
Well, your addiction, you converted into a job, so that's, if addictions could more do that, it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So how long were you guys talking to each other before the conversation turned to, hey, if you're looking for work, maybe you should come work for us? Like, how long did you know each other?
Not that long. We
Okay, even
actually,
better.
yeah, we met for the first time when I had my job interview.
Oh wow. So you never,
So,
oh wow, okay.
yeah.
No, that's so
I think
cool.
maybe we met then for the first time. Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't know her that well when she
Hmm.
actually told me about her office.
This really, I mean, to me, it speaks to just the sort of, you know, think better of people, be more open to connection, and you never know the sort of like kindness and incredible people that you meet if you're willing to have that kind of interaction. You know, there's like,
Mm.
obviously we don't want to be naive and like not use these social systems intelligently. There's a lot of crazy people out there, but there's just an almost more shocking amount of like wonderful people that you can meet and connect with. I really do appreciate it more and more. I saw you were doing. Well, I'm trying to, you know, support each other because we follow each other. Obviously, you're doing more of the reels, which I think is great. A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah. They're it's somewhat of a challenge on them to have a unique voice. Like, there's so many different approaches, right? Like, people, you can basically follow trends, but then you do that at the cost of any kind of originality, where you suddenly, you just become sort of like, you know, spitting out
Yeah.
trend. But I mean, I love it for, you know, I linked you to the guy who did the sort of artistic stuff that I really really
Ah,
like.
yeah,
um they're cool. But returning to this kind of adventure that you're on here, where you meet her, you'd finished school. She gets you in. Was it like you just got into the interview and then they hired you? They were like, "That's it. Get this girl a job."
No, unfortunately not.
Oh no. Okay.
But yeah, my where should I start? So I had two interviews, and I can't remember. Thanks to her, she was really I can't emphasize enough how nice she was. She told me what would probably be asked in the interview
Okay.
during the interview.
Yeah.
So that helped me a lot to prepare for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I had two interviews. I can't remember what happened. I can remember that they asked me a couple of questions in Japanese, and then like, what did I do? Like the normal stuff. And then there was an English interview because at my workplace I also have to use English a little bit because our clients are obviously overseas. We have clients in Europe and in America,
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
example, USA. What else? So there was that. And we have also, not everyone at our office can speak really good English, but we have a couple of people who I work to, and most of them are Japanese. Like I'm the only foreigner currently, and then we have a Chinese attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a paralegal, by the way. I'm not an attorney or anything. I'm a paralegal,
Okay.
like a secretary,
Okay. Okay.
basically. And so we have, in fact, some people who can speak, for example, more English than you think, and but also other languages. We have one of my coworkers was in Korea. She can speak or read a little bit Korean. We have this Chinese attorney. We have some people. The girl who was sitting next to me, she was living in Germany for quite a while. Her husband is still in Germany. She can speak quite good German,
Cool.
for example. So I work together with a lot of Japanese, but all of them have this background kind of a little bit that they can speak another language or have lived in a different country. So that's cool.
Yeah, very multilingual kind of work environment to be in. Like,
I don't know how I did get to this topic, but because of the interview was partly in English, and
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That no, that's cool. It's like it's maybe not to the same extent, but it's something I'm looking forward to when I'll be moving to Kyoto soon, and the people that I'll be working with there,
Mm,
they're all true, not necessarily like trilingual or anything, but they're all true bilingual.
mm,
It's like, and the majority of the staff is, it's an American person, it's it's a Canadian, it's like North America kind of thing. I don't think we have any sort of Europeans there, but it's all N1 level Japanese.
mm,
And the fact, though, that of course they're fluent in English at the same time, I feel like I'm going to absorb some of this. Like, I can feel it when I'm around them, being around people who are
mm,
confident bilingual that speak English as their native language. It makes me feel like I could be like that, like, oh, this is like, it's a model, I could just model myself after them. Even like their accents, like it's one
mm.
thing to model after Japanese, but like I feel almost like more comfortable modeling them. It's I'm looking forward to it. It's definitely something that I think will bring more confidence because it's not just me speaking, it's like all of the foreigners around me speak Japanese fluently. So there'll be more encouragement for me to improve at it, which I'm excited for. Um, when you
By the
were
way, why do you move to Kyoto?
So I'll be moving to Kyoto because I got the hosting position with Wow You only in Japan. So
Woo.
sorry.
Yeah, I only said woo.
Oh, okay. I thought you said who, or I wasn't
Yay.
sure if it was a woo. It was all right. It was the
Yeah.
encouragement. Yeah. So because I got the hosting position with them, I'll be basically creating for them full time, and I wanted to be in a creative center where
Mm,
I am not there now. It's like I live way out in the middle of nowhere.
mm,
Um, and well, at least by Japanese standards, it's still near a city, but middle of nowhere by Japanese standards. And I have so many wonderful creative creatively connected people that live in Kyoto. And Kyoto is this like crazy sweet spot in terms of really developed city, but the
Mm-hmm.
price of living there is way
Oh,
lower, just way, way lower. So,
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Just like
I was expecting now it's like expensive for. No?
higher than where I am now.
Yeah.
But I mean, compared to living in Tokyo, it would be definitely a lower cost of living. And then I'm near Osaka as well. So if I do want to do even one of the like premier, like huge mega cities, but mostly for the people who are in Kyoto, because there's directors, there's artists, there's my friend who I'm going to be working with closely there, who's very like well connected with the creative community. So it just made sense in terms of content. So like, where am I going to be able to make cool videos? This is the
Mm,
spot. So
mm.
that was the choice there. Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah, looking forward to see more of that
Thank you.
when you
Yeah, it's going to
what
be
you create.
actually the company was so gung ho. The guys at Wowed You, I can talk freely about this. Where I was like, I'm finishing up at my current job right now, which is intense.
Mhm.
It's this private school that has school 6 days a
Yeah.
week, um, and finishing with them while trying to move is complicated. But then Wow to You is also like, we'd like you to create movies at the videos at the same time. So actually, when I went down to do apartment hunting, I
Yeah.
recorded all of that to make a like what's it like to find a house in Japan video,
Mm.
which I think will be good, but it's just so many layers of activity right now that it's a little bit overwhelming. So I'm looking forward to being able to solely focus on that, which I'm sure you can appreciate. Anybody who does YouTube and makes a
Yeah.
real effort with a day job, it's like,
Mm.
you're juggling so many things at once. It's tough.
Mm.
It's tough. Yeah.
I can relate.
Mm.
I can relate. I got like this year started with like I tried to do YouTube, then there were these then I tried to start with TikTok as well. That's why I'm doing sometimes also reel on Instagram
Okay.
because I started TikTok because I think many people are going there. So I was giving it a second chance. Basically, I wasn't never a huge fan, but it has its good sides,
Hmm.
definitely. And it's fun. That's that. So I started something new for social media, YouTube, but also TikTok, Instagram, Twitter stuff. But I got to sponsorships this year
Oh, that's
that
wonderful.
I had to do.
Congrats.
Small ones, but still, I'm currently working on the second one now.
That's wonderful.
And then yeah, daytime job, of course, YouTube,
Hmm.
this. And I'm currently trying to get a new internet contract. And wow.
So that's something like, how are you getting internet right now? Like, what's your, is it AU? Is it SoftBank? Is it who, NTT? Who do you use?
It's all the same. I, I promise I make a video about this when I've finished.
Hmm.
Maybe even before that, because the last step now is I have to wait until this company I'm trying to get
Hmm.
to they have to make a second construction
Okay.
kind of. There's this company that is called Nudo, and they have currently the fastest internet.
Okay.
So everyone's going there, and it takes a while. And they did the first construction, and now I'm waiting for the second one, and that will take maybe 1 or 2 months, even more than that, maybe. But
Hmm.
yeah,
Hmm.
um, but it was hard to come to this point, like to figure out which contract I want, to which company I should go, because they are all connected in a way I can't explain to you. I was calling this company, for example, and they were telling me if you had trouble, I have SoftBank right now,
Hmm.
and I had a lot of troubles with, I don't know, sometimes it's just really slow in the
Hmm.
evening or even in the afternoon, then I couldn't really work at home.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just works, doesn't work at all because SoftBank has some troubles from time to time.
Ugh.
Then there was this time like 1 month ago where it wasn't working for 4 days or so in a row. It was like, whoa.
Oh yeah, and to a YouTuber, that's your lifeblood. I had this huge concern when I moved into this place that I'm at now, where I have to have good upload speed, or I can't upload any videos. I have to have it, and I didn't even know if I would be able to. They offered internet with this building, but it was just jank, like horrible. And it took my friend calling them up and saying, "Is there anything you can do?" This is kind of funny. They said the only way we could do that is if we had one of these special services built into the building that would allow a connection. And he said, "Well, does it have that?" They're like, "Oh, well, let me check." It does. So it's only because he asked the question. It's not because they offered it as an option. It was just the weirdest thing in the world. And so I was really,
Oh,
really lucky. That's a big concern I have actually moving to Kyoto. It's like,
yeah.
I'm sure I can get good internet, but like, if I can't, that's,
Mm.
what do I do? You know?
No, if they offer you something, you might get internet right away. But if you have to do it yourself, it might take a while to
Mm-hmm.
get internet.
Mm-hmm.
And I have that problem. I have to wait now. I canceled my SoftBank contract basically right away
Mm-hmm.
because it was ending in February. And if I had canceled later, I had would have to pay this cancellation fee, which is like 9,000 yen.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm getting out of this contract right now. So I have to use a pocket Wi-Fi next month. That's what I
Mm.
told you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but it works for work. It's okay. I tried it out a couple of times now.
Yeah.
It works. I'm not sure if I'm okay with that, if I have to do that for 1 month actually. But I do most of the things I do with my phone anyway.
Okay. Okay. That's
And I
good.
have my internet contract on my phone, a second one for
Okay.
my phone separate.
Do you have tethering for your phone that you can just tether your phone to your Okay. So at
Mm.
least you've got that base level. You can do that if you need to. That's good. That's good.
Mm.
Yeah.
No, the pocket Wi-Fi that I have is not that bad. It's a little bit older, but I compared it to newer versions and it's not bad. It's
It's okay.
okay. It works, I think.
Good, 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 good. I mean, yeah, you just need it. I mean, if you have any sort of significant upload, um, when you're downloading all the time, say you want to use like clips or you're downloading MP3s or like just good consistent
Mm.
internet is if you want to live stream to have any sort of like quality of live stream, it's just essential. And you'd think Japan is supposed to be. I mean, Korea, I guess, is the definition of like good internet. Korea is like ridiculously fast,
Yeah.
ridiculously well
Yeah.
connected, but Japan, and I mean, you live in Tokyo. It's like the
Mm.
world's foremost super city. You'd think it wouldn't be
Yeah.
so complicated. Like, and this is for you, someone who speaks the language so well. Like, oh man, that it
This
was
was
actually. Sorry, go ahead.
no, 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 an adventure.
Hmm.
But even like my friend, I told you about my friend who got me my current job. Even her Japanese is really good, but even she doesn't do that herself. She asks her husband, for example, to do the internet contract because it's not easy. I called a couple of companies, and sometimes they tell you like the conditions, and then they say in Japanese all these complicated stuff that you wouldn't even understand probably in your own language.
Is a native. Yeah, yeah.
And one time I was a couple of times like, huh, what, can you say that again? And after a while she was like, yeah, if you don't understand that, we can't make this contract with you. Yeah, so
That's
whoa.
yeah. What is going? Yeah, I don't know about that. I
When
although it's kind of same deal. Although he's similar to yourself. That's how I did when I had to transfer all of my utilities, of course, because I moved to where I am now. I've only been here a year. I did all the utilities myself because electricity and water is just I'm here and now I'm there. But for the internet, I totally had to have him there. And it's a good thing I did because, like I say, it was like we weren't sure if we could get it at this place. When we checked, it's like I'm 5 minutes, 10 minutes away from the main city, and they were still like, oh, AU's not there, SoftBank's not there. Like we could only get this one company to get internet to where I am. Anyways,
Oh.
I'm pretty internet obsessed because, as I say, it like matters for so much of what I work with. But it's weird to me.
Mm.
I would think it would be easier here, but it's not. Canada's pretty good. I don't know. How is Germany? Is Germany good for internet?
Huh. Um, Worse than Tokyo, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know about the bigger cities, but I mean, Germany has not really huge cities like Tokyo, for example.
Okay.
And where my parents live, it's not good, the internet.
Okay. Okay.
Like, my parents are definitely satisfied with what they got, but when I was there, I was always like, the internet doesn't work. Hello? Can
Okay.
you help? Yeah,
Okay.
it's slow, it's slow. But because you're in the countryside,
Hmm.
mostly like Germany, it's always it's everywhere, it's countryside, you know. So the
Okay.
internet connection is mostly not so good.
Interesting. Interesting. I have this theory, which I think like it's fairly well supported. Some of these older cultures, say like European cultures, as compared to North America, Canada, no matter where it was that was
Mm,
developed, is pretty new. Even
mm,
our oldest places are pretty new. And so when we did extend further small towns and stuff, most of it had really good connections to modernizing infrastructure because there was only a town there when the infrastructure was starting to modernize. So it's like Canada has that weird, as a relatively new culture, some of these like more modern amenities are better integrated because they don't have to backwards integrate them into places that just never had that before. Say like some German town that's been there for 500 years or something, and they're only now getting internet. It's an interesting thing. Okay, so how long have you been at the this job? How long have you been a paralegal working for the patent attorneys?
over 3 years
Okay.
now. This year I had to renew my visa last year, so a little bit over 3 years.
Okay, there's a cool question. So are you on the specialist arts and humanities visa? Which one are you on?
I think yes.
Okay.
I would need to check that. Should I check?
It's
Uh
I'm gonna just assume. I bet that it is. It shows
think
you're one of these like
yeah,
lucky people who has that, because it's a very good
humanities,
visa.
something with humanities in it, I think. Yes.
Yeah, specialist engineering arts and humanities. It's like the
Not specialist, not
doesn't say
specialist.
specialist. I mean, if you got it there, I'm curious to see what it reads.
Not
But
specialist.
like the humanities visa, they call it, and it's got like a minimum 3 years, which I'm assuming.
Yeah, I have 3 years, but I did not get five, unfortunately. I wanted to have five this time, but you know,
Hey,
hard to get.
uh, must be nice. With the instructor visas, they always give you just 1 year, 1 year, 1 year, unless you give like a ton of like financial backup information. Then they still give you one. But again, the position that I'm moving into in Kyoto, I'll be likely altering my visa to be in a situation like yours where it'll be at a minimum 3 years, which is something I'm very much looking forward to because every year as a visa renewal is a pain in the ass. It's not fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 years there. That's cool. Do you have a sort of like plan for if you want to continue there, or like where does Tina see herself? Where does Tina's Tokyo Diaries see herself in 5 years?
Oh, hopefully, um, I'm still far away from that, but I would love to try to do YouTube
Hmm.
or something similar. Um, Full time, I don't know. You know what I mean? I would love to have the option, at least the possibility to do that, to say, I don't, I mean, many people want to do that, do something creative, you know, full time, what they love.
Yes.
But so, and I'm trying to get there, but really slowly.
Mm.
And currently I'm thinking a lot about like since last year I'm thinking how I could do that, what I could do besides YouTube, for example, to
Yep.
make that financially
Mm-hmm.
possible.
Mm-hmm.
For
Mm-hmm.
example, like I started a Patreon page.
Mm-hmm.
It's not very successful yet, so it's still hard for me to really talk about that, to say, yeah, I will definitely try to do that because I don't know how it's going. I will try to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, I was thinking about changing my current job. I was thinking about changing my current job last year, but it's a full-time job and it's stressful, but
Mm-hmm.
it still leaves me really with enough free time to do YouTube and all this.
Very
So
important.
I was checking job some websites, and all mostly the conditions are worse than in my current job.
Okay.
For example, with overtime, payment, a lot of stuff. Like
Yeah.
I have a pretty good job, all in all.
Cool. That's
It's
good.
really stressful sometimes, but
What job
yeah.
isn't? Usually.
Hmm?
What job is not stressful sometimes, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
of course,
Yeah.
right. Exactly. So, but that's it. I mean, mm, mm.
Okay,
I
yeah.
have enough,
I hear you.
enough, enough free time, kind of. And yeah, let's see. But I'm currently thinking about what I could do to make it happen in a couple of years. I don't know when, to do only YouTube or something similar.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, it's I mean and it takes that level of thought and I think it takes that level of patience because a lot of as like I'll not to make it about me because it's not, but like my opportunity that I've been able
Mhm.
to even scratch close to, you know, what it is that we're talking about has kind of not come out of nowhere. It's come as a result of me focusing on this interest that I have and trying to get better, but I couldn't have predicted it. So it's hard sometimes to see what ways in which your life will change to accommodate the interest. So I think the best we can do is to just make interesting work, pursue what it is that interests you, and then hopefully, while you're doing the best that you can with that,
Mhm.
opportunities arise which you can take advantage of. I mean, I think you're doing the right things. You do
Mhm.
very well. It seems like you have a very engaged Instagram following, which is really good
Oh,
and hard. Like,
oh,
man, getting
mm.
a following on Instagram is
Yeah,
so hard.
yeah,
um,
yeah. That's why I'm trying TikTok right now,
right,
because
right.
Instagram has is getting a little bit too, I don't know, nothing. There's nothing much happening,
Mm,
really.
I empathize, and I think that's so. Here's a great example. What you're doing, it's like I think stagnant thinking is like one of the worst, potential killers there is. And so some people might criticize, like, oh, jumping from all different platforms. But
Mm.
really, there's a difference between jumping to other platforms and also seeing opportunity. And so I think something like TikTok, yeah, it's a new opportunity. Like, it is so self evident that that
Mm.
form of media, that a sort of like short form video format in terms of like what is mass consumable is the
Mm.
next wave. Like, I mean, I've talked to friends about this. This is another tangent we can go on, but like, it's the first time that I've thought the addictiveness of the
Mm.
medium is truly dangerous. Like, how perfectly addictive TikTok style videos are, 15 to 30 seconds of the coolest thing you have ever seen,
Mm.
unlimited on an, and this is also shown that we're like super addicted to infinite scrolling. it's
Mm.
it's simultaneously the coolest thing in the world because I'm like, wow, what a great way for artists to be able to show off what they do. It's a lot of fun, but you know, you go down the rabbit hole and you think about, like, I think about a 10-year-old kid
Mm.
that's like your brain on fire, like how addicted you could become to these things. You know, it's a brave new world, pretty scary stuff, but I like to see different platforms for creators, you know, like another way that people can be empowered and have a voice. I'm fully in support of. So
Mm.
I think that that's great. And you never know what medium, like, I don't know. That's another question I'd ask you. Like, do you preference in the way that you create things on a particular platform? Is like creating for YouTube your favorite? Or do you most enjoy TikTok? Or like, which is the creative style? Even if you have one, maybe you don't, but which do you enjoy most?
Currently, I think I would say YouTube has
Okay.
to be number one, because I'm still doing it after a couple of years.
Hmm.
But currently, I'm also enjoying TikTok a lot because you're getting faster. You're getting one video done pretty fast. You know, you're going somewhere, taking a couple of shots, videos, and then you put them together in maybe half an hour. If you do something very easy, even faster. And then you have all these new effects and things you can use, and it looks pretty cool in the end. Yeah,
I empathize with that.
so it's fun at the moment. I'm still trying to figure out how to work with TikTok. I'm still in the beginning of
Hmm.
exploring that.
Yeah, turnaround for creative time is that, I mean, I've been doing, I haven't done the TikTok so much, but I have done basically the Instagram equivalent, which is Reels.
Mm. Yeah,
And I love it for the exact reason that you just described. You can make something that's so polished and
yeah,
looks really cool and like well made, and maybe it took you 2 hours or maybe it took you 3 hours. But where any sort of significant YouTube video, if you care at all, usually,
yeah,
is it's at a minimum, it's
yeah,
about 10 plus hours that you're having to put into that. Um,
yeah.
so shorter form creative is it's definitely appealing. I understand that for sure. Yes.
Yeah, and you learn a lot on TikTok actually. Have you seen that? There are also so many videos, like one type of video that teaches you stuff about like probably a lot of things, but what I get, for example, are tips for taking photos, videos, and stuff like that with like really cool effects.
Educating style videos, just like on YouTube, have
Mm,
huge reach and replayability. It's great actually because it means that one of the most desirable videos are ones that educate. So it's a very positive form of content that comes out of the medium, and you can tell how good it is because it's like specifically sold on how
mm,
short it is. So it's trying to be
yeah,
the most
yeah,
efficient lesson that you could
mm,
ever imagine, which, the best YouTube tutorials are usually the ones that don't waste your time. They're like right to the
mm,
point. And sort of TikTok is
yeah,
an extreme form of that. Like 15
mm,
seconds, you know how to take better pictures.
mm.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. That's another advantage of it. That's a great point.
That's something that I really like. But I mean, there are things that I don't like about TikTok or that I didn't like. But yeah, when you're using the app for a while, it shows you really the things that you're interested in. So then it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, like Instagram, you had an the algorithm shows you the things that you want to see. Hopefully, at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was always hesitant to watch tutorials on YouTube because, as you said, some of them are really long, right? And some YouTubers talk and talk and talk before they actually get to the point.
Yes. Yes. And that's, I mean,
So
sometimes when it's just a free form conversation, that's fine. But when it's a tutorial, it's
yeah,
horrible.
right.
It's like
Yeah.
it's the worst thing in the world. Yeah. You want them to be succinct and to the point. Absolutely. And so these tutorials that you can find there, yeah, they can be really, really useful. Maybe, I don't know why she keeps showing up in mine, but there's like, have you seen this girl maybe on Instagram? She's probably on TikTok. She's called like Lisa in Japan. Ever seen her show up?
No.
I don't
Wow.
I've never liked a single video she's made. I've never followed her, but she does great photography, and she does, just like you're describing, these sort of educational reels, and she absolutely kills it. I don't even think she has a YouTube channel. She just does it as a photography page for Instagram, but I was just like, man, she's doing something right, because I was like, it's supposed to be um, that you were shown things which you enjoy, but I've never once liked a single thing that she's done, but it always suggests it to me. Yeah, well, there it is. Lisa in Japan. She's
Yeah.
got 18,000 followers. Her photography is excellent. This is the sort of thing where I'm very, very careful to temper the sort of like green jealousy of somebody doing well with the fact that she just seems like a sweetheart. Um, and then all of her reels they're really, really good, and she clearly has, I want to say, a professional background in photography, because her coloring is also, I'm always drawn to coloring, like people who do really nice colors. It's really good.
Mm.
All of her stuff. And her videos average, well, they go from anywhere from around like 16,000 up to like 120. And I'm like, that's amazing on an 18,000 subscriber following, or, whatever.
Wow.
And she's
Yeah.
done it totally just in
Ah.
Instagram. Um,
Her reels. I'm just looking at her profile. It looks so pretty. Even her reels, like even the cover
right.
of every reel looks pretty, like a photo.
Exactly. She's a
Ah.
pro. She's really, really good. I have no idea who this girl is, but I have a great respect for her work. um,
Follow. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's, and if you're looking for, like you were saying, if you're looking for photography tips, that's a strength. She shows those, and of course they're popular because people are like, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that.
Mm.
I mean, one of the things, I saw some really short clip recently was, the sort of long exposure, like light trails, those kind of pictures. I know I've been learning how to do longer exposure for waterfalls. You know the look where the
Uh,
waterfall, it looks kind of like mist as opposed to water,
yeah.
but I've never ever done it with, it's a different beast when you do it at night, because you're getting
Mm.
these light trails, so you have to account for the fact that you need to have the whatever it is, the shutter open long enough that it exposes for the light trails, but not so light that the can't that anyways. They're really, really cool pictures, and some guy just like literally types into his tutorial, he was like, put your ISO at this, put your what is it, your shutter speed at this, and put your aperture at this. And I was like, oh, there it is, perfect. Yeah, you can just learn so quickly. There's a question for you. Is there anybody right now, be it on TikTok or like YouTube, that you like? I have tons of people I'm always looking to for inspiration. Is there
Mhm.
anybody that you're like, this person's videos I respect, I would emulate something in the quality of their work?
Oh, um, it's hard to say. I currently try to find on TikTok a couple of people that I
Mm-hmm.
can use for inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And I just recently started to do that. I don't know. I like, for example, do you know Franklin? I think her username is always Franklin the woman.
Okay, you're saying that's TikTok, or is that Instagram?
She's also on Instagram, I guess.
Franklin, you say?
Yeah.
Okay. F R
Yeah.
Franklin.
Nicole.
Franklin the woman. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Oh, followed by Tina.
Yeah.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
And I don't know her, but I'm following her, for example, on TikTok, and I have seen a couple of her videos. And yeah, I don't know. I like the style of her videos just, and I'm currently trying, for example, to make these kind of videos. But currently, I'm still in a phase where I where I'm trying out a lot of stuff
Mm-hmm.
at the same time and just see what's popular or what I like or what I enjoy.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. It's cool. She's in Osaka. I'll have to look her up when I'm down there, so I'll
Oh.
actually be near. I can. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, yeah. That's. I totally get what you mean, to just like kind of sampling to figure it out. What it is, because there are
Yeah.
just so many styles of videos, and you
Yeah.
know there's so much you can learn with everything. I'm curious, what is it that you edit on? Like, which software do you use?
Oh, Final Cut.
Okay, cool. So that's the Mac OS. Uh,
Yeah.
okay, nice, nice,
For
very cool.
YouTube, Final Cut Pro, but for TikTok and these kind of videos, I'm using my phone, Premiere.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. It's Premiere Rush. I just bought this year the Adobe, how's it, the cloud.
Oh, you have that now too. Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, it was on discount for
Oh,
some
really?
weird reason. I wanted to simply get Illustrator. I
I
wanted to get
yeah,
Photoshop. I had Photoshop and I wanted to get Illustrator to learn Illustrator. And Illustrator was nearly the same price as the cloud would have cost me.
I see.
They put it on like 50% discount. So it's like 3,000 yen
That's amazing.
for the first year. So
That's cool. I mean, that's great value. And especially if the more of those programs that you learn, the more value you're getting from them, right? So if you use Rush, if you use Illustrator, if you use Pro, whatever. Um, okay, that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. It's one of the things I'm looking forward to. Perhaps have you heard of DaVinci Resolve? Do you know that one?
no.
Okay, it started as a coloring software. It's like Hollywood level. They would use it
Oh,
for coloring videos, but
mm,
over time, just to appeal to a greater market, they've included more like editing suite style stuff. But I want to
mm,
use it for its coloring because I found just a couple people. There's this guy, his name is AUXOUT. If you want to
mm,
see some of the most gorgeously colored videos you can imagine, he's
mm.
unbelievable. And he uses DaVinci Resolve. And I'm noticing more people that I like their coloring. It's that software, but it's going to be this whole new learning curve to be able to
Oh,
do
okay.
that. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But fun to learn, right? I mean, that's half of like the
Yeah,
enjoyment of being
yeah,
involved with all this stuff is to just like make something better and learn something new and
right.
yeah.
Yeah, there are so many different softwares out there. Like a friend of mine just got a new software recently, and I then watched some of her videos, and she has really cute effects. I don't know actually how the software is called that she got, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not Final Cut. Um, I don't know which one she got, but I just was surprised how cool all the effects were that she used in her videos, and I was like, wow, why doesn't Final Cut have this?
That's always the
Can I
feeling,
get
right?
this?
Yeah. No, the grass is
Yeah.
always greener. I have a buddy actually. He supplied me with some of the drone footage that
Mm,
I've managed to work into a few of my videos, and I just went to Nagano and I went snowboarding, and I put like all this effort into like I had GoPro footage, I had the footage from my Sony camera,
mm,
and I put in all this effort to make this snowboard video of what we made. He made a video with I think it's called Procreate, which is a type of like Apple software for
yeah.
editing. All he used was iPhone footage, and
Oh,
his video, I mean, obviously it's because he's a great editor, but his video looks so much better than mine. I was just like, "Oh, you're killing me." Like he was a great example of like skill over,
yeah.
all the stuff that you spend money on, but, got to be humble. Got to be humble.
That's what I also lately realized when watching all those TikTok videos, because most of those people are using their iPhone to do something.
Mhm.
And what you can actually do with your iPhone is amazing. I didn't know that. I
Totally.
just I just made like two or three different. I tried out something on the weekend that I saw on TikTok, and it looks amazing. Just when you use, for example, the panorama mode,
Okay.
and you hold your iPhone like this
Okay.
and shoot a picture up there,
Yes.
you get an amazing effect. When you have, for example, like a large building or something in front of you,
Okay.
you're using the panorama mode,
To capture the
and
whole thing. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
for example, really cool, and it's so easy. You just have to, yeah.
Isn't it amazing the rate? well, this is another thing. You shone a light on it to begin with. Like, there's videos that are specifically teaching us how to make better stuff, but just generally how quickly information gets shared. Like, people who are doing videos with those panoramas aren't even necessarily maybe making them to teach you how, but because you
Mm.
see something that you like, you're like, I want to know how to do that, you know, and just like the rate at which people are learning and teaching themselves stuff, it's so
Can you see
cool.
that? Show it to you now here.
That's the
Can you
one.
see? Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah, yeah, it looks awesome.
Right?
Yeah,
Such a cool effect.
yeah, that's awesome. I know for sure, like, I've got the my phone is one of the, it's like the Samsung Galaxy S20 or whatever. For the
Mm,
longest time, or at least I would say in the last 5 years, when I compared the iPhone, which this is the equivalent to,
mm,
not really a big difference. But now that I
mm,
really care about this stuff, like I notice, I really watch, I was comparing this phone to the iPhone 12, which is the equivalent that's come out. First thing I noticed, if you take video on this phone, the
mm,
stabilization in this compared to the iPhone sucks. The iPhone looks like it's on a gimbal. It looks so
mm,
perfectly stabilized. It's
mm,
unbelievable compared to what's on this. Second, the photographs aren't even comparable. The
mm.
iPhone looks like a $5,000 camera. This just looks like a cheap phone camera. It's
Well,
the iPhone has gotten so much farther ahead now than the
um,
Samsung phones. I started with an iPhone 5 and then I was like, "Oh, I want to try both systems." I went to this. I'll definitely be going back because the utility of the new iPhones, they're just crazy. They're unbelievable what they can do. It's amazing. Yeah. No, I'm jealous. You have an iPhone, right? That's an iPhone. Yeah.
yeah, it's an iPhone. It's not the
Nice.
newest one, but 11, I
Okay.
think.
Yeah, so pretty
The
new. Pretty new. Yeah,
But
cool.
before that, I had 6S. So this was a large,
Oh
a
wow.
huge gap.
That's yeah. And you notice it after that amount of time, right? Like 1 year is not much, but like 4 generations, you're like, oh, it's a spaceship, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on, Tina. It was awesome. I really
Mm.
appreciate you making time for this. And I feel like we could, probably talk for another hour or so, but you have your evening. It is the middle of the week. So I just want to say thank you. And hopefully we can have you on again sometime.
No problem. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Was really nice talking to you again, like after such a long time and stuff.
For sure. For sure. Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
definitely get you on again. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in to listen, whether it's on YouTube or Spotify or Apple iTunes. You guys are awesome. Please do consider supporting my Patreon. That's how content like this continues to be created. And we'll catch you in the next episode of the Interstice. But bye for now.